Tony smiled. Oh my God!
Tony Khan feared for his life, but now he's taken the worst bumps I've ever seen in my life. Welcome back to Fog Wrestling. AEW Dynamite was last night. This isn't a review. This is simply a reaction to the Tony Khan segment on the show where Jack Perry punched him in the gut. And then we saw a Meltzer Driver from the Bucks. Tony Khan probably shat his pants knowing that he was going to be receiving a Meltzer Driver from the Young Bucks. This entire segment to me makes zero sense. Now if you forget about the logic, right, and all that, that's all good. But then you actually see the selling involved here. He gets punched in the ribs by Jack Perry. And I say he gets punched in the ribs. It's not like it's a shoot punch, right? He gets tapped in the ribs, goes down like a bag of shite, doesn't start selling to about 3 seconds. He goes down like he's been killed. He just doesn't move. Then, when he decides to sell, it's like 4 seconds later, which the damage has already been done at that point, folks. He then starts moping around. Then the Young Bucks and Okada come out, and this bit's pathetic because you're led to believe that the Young Bucks and Okada are out there to help Tony. They're like, what the fuck? Why would you attack our boss? What are you doing? You can't do that, Jack Perry. And then they're picking him up in the super kick position, where they pick their opponent up and they do a double super kick while they're on their knees. Tony Khan looking pathetic, by the way, on his knees. And then they don't do the super kick, so I think they've actually went against the super kink. But Tony Khan's got a super kick kink. I think they've actually bottled the super kick because they're unsafe, right? And probably the last thing that they want to do is give the guy that gives them fucking billions of dollars a double concussion. So then they do the Meltzer Driver, and the way Tony Khan hugs his wrestlers, like Cesaro we've seen in the past, it's like a child hugging, a fully grown man, so to speak, right? They're superhero. That is the exact way here he is hanging on to one of the Bucks. It looks pathetic. I don't know. See, when you see Undertaker doing a tombstone or Kane, and whoever it is, the opponent, is hanging on to them, it doesn't look like a hug. It looks like a natural maneuver. It looks like the Undertaker is the one holding the Bucks. Not the Bucks, but his opponent. See, in this instance, man, you've got them. Tony Khan looks like he's fucking hanging on for dear. It was like one of the most pathetic things I've ever seen in my life. And the selling, and again, logically, let's go back to logically. I said remove it for a few minutes. This is the guy that said he feared for his life when CM Punk screamed in his face, right? Feared for his life with CM Punk, and now he's taking bumps from the guy that CM Punk had a feud with, that he feared for his life and essentially sacked his biggest star, and is now taking bumps. Because, it's pathetic, man. They released that footage a couple of weeks ago. The Young Bucks trying to say that what CM Punk did could have brought the business down and ruined the company. And then a couple of weeks later, you've actually got the Bucks and Jack Perry attacking the actual boss of the company. And CM Punk get fired for getting Jack Perry into a headlock. This has been a mess. Everything about this is a mess, right? It makes no sense. Right? What we've said though is that, you know what, they may as well try and get some heat on this and get Tony Khan attacked, and they've done that, but it's the manner of it. It's I think a heel Tony Khan would have worked. I mean, obviously he looks like a face now, but it's the manner of the bumps as well, man. It's pathetic. I mean, I had a few drinks yesterday, and I woke up, and this sobered me up. This is the first thing I seen on Instagram. Tony Khan taking these bumps, man. It was absolutely horrendous. All right, and we're going to look at it. We're going to look at some of these bumps here tonight. So as you can see, Tony Khan lying dead for a good couple of seconds, and then he decides to sell. It's what is he doing? What is going on there? I mean, the guy is a mark. Does it really surprise me that this guy doesn't know how to sell? No, considering pretty much everybody in this segment does gymnastics and not professional wrestling, I can absolutely buy this going on. Now, we're actually going to look at the Meltzer Driver next, which I think is even more pathetic than this somehow. And as you can see for the Meltzer Driver here, you've got Tony Khan upside down, his black socks showing, he's hanging on for dear life, he's beer hugging one of the bucks, his face is in one of the bucks' crotch, he's absolutely loving life, he's about to receive it here for the other buck. I can't tell the bucks apart, perfectly honest, but you've got Okada out there pretending to be fucking DX here. He's take a leaf out of DIY's book with his whole hand movement. Do not know what's going on. But Tony Khan does this make this? Does it redeem it? No. I've just debunked it. I don't understand why they've even went down this road. Because with Tony Khan, I think it makes sense for him to be like a heel in this CM Punk aspect. Like, oh, I fired him. You know, I've got all the power. I've aligned myself with these guys, sort of thing. Him being the face and these guys being the heels doesn't really make much sense to me because like you fired your biggest, you know, draw that you will ever have because he screamed in your face, but yet the guys that he had a beef with have fucking battered you on television. The same television that you've just shown why Punk got fired and the incident in itself. So it's not like here, the Punk thing was real. This is fake. No, they're trying to show it in the same fucking light. So for me, it's an absolute disaster, right? It makes Tony Khan look even worse than he did a couple of weeks ago, which I didn't think was actually possible. But AEW have somehow went and managed it. Now we're going to be back later on with a Dynamite review. Personally, I think this is a mess, but maybe we've got it wrong. But we don't deal in maybes, we deal in absolutes, and I can say absolutely we've no got it wrong. Because this is a fucking mess.